All right, Cory and Jody here. We just finished the 2025 One Bass Arizona Open at Lake Havasu. And so the ride out. So I worked all day Friday and we drove all day Friday night. We got to the ramp at maybe 7 o'clock the next morning, 902 miles, and went fishing. Did we catch them?
Yes, we did.
We did.
We got on them that day.
We got on them. We catch them on top water stuff, and I was catching them a jig underneath. And yeah, day two, the next day.
Really good topwater bite on that day.
Top water bite again, jig bite, catching big ones.
Up the river.
Yeah, day three.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Making sure that your fish were there.
Yep. Shook off lots of fish in these 3 days. You stick one once in a while, but that's good. Just so you know, hey, it's actually 6-pounders that are biting. And day four, we got off of that, went to look for some Plan B stuff, for me anyway. Just in the bizarre ass chance, that, hey, don't work. Something changes. So, lots of 2 and 3 pounders, no 4 pounders, but easy limits. So day 1 of 3 of the tournament for you.
It was a great day. So with the One Bass, you are with 3 different, so I'm on the AAA side, the co-voter side, so I'm with 3 different pros that are running the boat. So my first day, gentleman, he was known as a legend. Been fishing, I think, since 1972. Won lots of boats.
Yeah.
A few vehicles.
Let's
Cadillac.
talk about that. 40, he's won 45 boats. 45 of them. And 2 pickups and a Cadillac. And that's not him telling the story. This is documented facts.
And he did like halfway through the day, because when we first took off, when we launched, when they called our boat number and called him and myself, Billy, the guy that runs the tournament, he's like, "Man, you're with a legend. You're with a legend." And I'm like, "Oh man, It was awesome. It was awesome." But
just in case you didn't hear me, 45 boats this man has won in his life, and 2 pickups and a Cadillac.
And he did later on in the day, like I was saying earlier. He did later on in the day, because I did give him a hard time.
Kevin Van Dam has not won that.
I told him, I was like, "Yeah, you're a legend, But then he did tell me the story about winning 2 boats at one
tournament.
Yeah.
He won 2 boats at one tournament.
And he won the U.S. Open.
Won the U.S. Open.
That was pretty cool.
Once or twice.
And he told me about his one friend being mad at him because at the U.S. Open he won because of the big fish, and then also overall. But he had a good story about it. It was awesome to hear him. He just kind of chuckled about it. But man, a few words, but what he did say mattered. And like there wasn't no, I don't know what to say. Like he was not harsh in any way. But I learned a lot, and our time was very well spent where we were at. There was no, I don't even know what to say. Like, he knew exactly where we were going and exactly what we were doing. So, it was good.
Right on. The man's truly a legend.
Yeah. How about your first day?
First day, I've got a young man as my co-angler for the day, but I honestly, I've always believed this, age doesn't matter. He's a good kid, good fisherman. We go into my Plan B starting point. just gonna go in there and snag, 4, and then go back out, where my current's at, and just start catching 6-pounders. We came out and there's no current. We had this frog strangler rainstorm the night before, like western Arizona desert monsoon rain. And I was actually afraid that we were going to have muddy water and too much current, which I was already had enough current. It was like a rodeo. But we come out of there with those and went to that, and there was nothing. It was like a swimming pool that nobody had been in a week. There was no sign of life, nothing. So we went on up the river a few more miles, just see if we can find some current, and duplicate, kind of what I'd been doing, and I think we culled a couple times, but it was nothing like it was. But that kid, and I really appreciate your efforts. Holy crap, I've never seen, I'm 53 years old, I've never ever seen anybody so fast with a net. Like if I say I got one, this guy's like a ninja. Like one moment's there, and the next time you blink, he's there and he's got the net ready. I've never seen anybody. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I'm not a ninja with a net.
This guy was a straight up ninja. If we got into a net fighting contest, I'm just giving up before we start. It was nuts, man. This guy's good. He played a lot of hockey since I think he said he was like 6 years old, even though, he lives around that Phoenix area. They play indoor hockey. He was an athlete. It was bizarre how fast this kid was with a net. It was nuts. It was crazy. I wish I would have had all that. Well, I did have all that in film, but, we didn't catch some big ones, so I zacked it. But, oh my God, I've never seen nobody like that with a net. It was, I could go on about this. So, day 2.
Day 2, I was with a gentleman that is a local guy there, fireman. Thank you for your service. And that whole rain really kind of messed with his whole fish, where his fish usually were too. So we were mostly on the cages in Lake Havasu, so those are some man-made obstacles that the Fish and Game, or I don't know, the state has put in Lake Havasu for fish
Fantastic
habitat.
Job.
Fish habitat for fish to kind of hang around.
Every state, they put in thousands of these, and they're like frames. They're like jailhouse frames. That's why they call them cages. But there's thousands of them in there, and I think every single state in the union should follow suit.
Yeah. They were tough though on that second day, because usually the fish that were there, they weren't there because of I believe the whole current thing and the whole water thing, and so it was
So let me get a hold of that current thing for a second. Current will put bass on structure. We all know that.
No,
and
not everybody knows that.
So current will put bass on structure because they want to get out of the current. They can get in some structure. It's kind of like you and me. If the wind's blowing real hard outside, you and me probably want to be indoors. And it's the same way with the bass. They just want to get inside somewhere. Well, when there's no current, so like you and me, the wind ain't blowing, the sun's shining, we want to get outside and we start to scatter. We just go everywhere, right? And the bass kind of do the same thing, and it makes it so you don't have these isolated pockets of bass that you're counting on that you can go and fish for, because they're on spring break, like they're gone. They're on their own roaming. So back to your day 2.
It was just a tougher day. I think I don't think we called it all at 2:45, and we had to be in at 3:20. 2:45, we finally boated the fifth fish. So it was a grind. It was a hard day. And fish were in places that he didn't think they would be, which was hard. It was hard just because you just don't know where they're at. But it was a good experience. Really nice guy. And a totally different way of fishing than I did the first day. So it was great to have that happen.
Have that experience.
Yeah. Your second day?
My second day, well, it was kind of the same thing, you know. I still don't have any current. I've still got to go in here, you know, and pull something out of my butt. And towards the latter part of the day, moved into a brand new area. Caught one off the bed. Caught a couple more in there, you know, to cull with, and the weight was less, a good bit less, but yeah. Day three.
You did good though. You had more in your bag than we did. Day three, I ended up drawing a gentleman, really great fisherman. Ended up, he was number 9 coming into this third day, so we were one of the first flights out. I was really, I was kind of stressed. It's very, it's just tough because where he was fishing, you know, when you first meet up with your guy in the morning, you know, he's going to tell you, okay, this is what we're going to do. And so it was different fishing that I was used to, really shallow. It was just different, but it was awesome. It was a good experience. Had to rig a little bit different and kind of make things happen different from what I had done the first couple days. We had a really great day. I was able to boat a fish that was the biggest that I'd had in any of my tournaments that I've fished so far with one bass, and ended up being on the third day AAA biggest fish of the day. So I was blessed with that. It was a great experience. It was awesome. He was so happy that, because he kept telling me all morning long, like, Jody, you're gonna bring one in. You're gonna boat over a 5-pounder, and it happened. It was awesome when it happened too. So it was a cool deal.
Got some good vibes going on in the boat.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, just positive. Yeah.
Your third day?
My third day, we ran back to that because there was some bedding fish that were not dealt with yet, and the water had come up a foot or two and it clouded up, so you couldn't see them. I lost one. There was an old sunken boat 20 or 30 feet away, and anyway, she got tangled in that. And long story short, I had 8 bites and only landed 3 of them. But however, 2 of those bites, by flipping in the reeds mats, incredibly light bites, I would have not felt without that sawgrass fishing rod. I know that. And then, you know, one bedding fish. But my partner and I, man, we had just a good time together, you know. I haven't had a bad partner the whole time that I've fished the One Bass Series. Starting back, we fished one last year, and that was at Lake Mead. And then 3 so far this year. Might I add, in the 4 tournaments that with One Bass that Jody has been in, 4 tournaments, she has cast a check in 3 of them. Well, she's cast a check 75% of the time in these. And now this year, you're 12th in the points on the amateur side.
Yeah.
So you're 12th. So you went from 18th to 12th in this past.
Havasu, yeah.
Out of 321 amateurs. So a field of 321, and she's sitting in 12th place on the amateur side.
Well, he was doing pretty good too.
Golf clap.
You're doing real good too, though.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
He's good at patting my back, but let's not talk about it.
Yeah, well, we'll wait till we win one. But anyway, that's stellar. Here's the biggest kicker, is Jody's only been fishing for a year and a half. A year and a half, and she goes to a pro trail and fishes the amateur side, and she's in 12th in the points after 3 tournaments. And on lakes that we've never been to.
It's my tough coach.
Oh, shit. You know. But you've never...
My pros on my when I'm doing the competitions, they're a lot easier than you are.
Well, there's probably a lot of sayings for that, but you know, and good equipment. And these lakes out here, it's not Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. This is like a whole brand new entire country to us. And so we've never seen these waters before, and Jody is sitting in 12th. Now, her very first tournament last year was on Lake Mead. We'd never been to Lake Mead before, and she got 6th place on the amateur side. And so that's remarkable. A friend of mine earlier, you know, I'm on the phone with, and I'm like kind of kicking my own ass still yet. And he was like, dude, it's a wonder that you're not in last place in every one of these. You should be. You've never fished any of these before. And a lot of these guys have been fishing, they fish the same lakes every year. A lot of these guys have been fishing these for 25 years, you know, and this is the first time you ever seen it. Bad weather in practice. Shasta for sure. Holy smokes.
Shasta should have made me cry.
I mean, I can repeat all kinds of excuses, but the bottom line is that I haven't caught them. I just haven't. I'm getting beat. It was getting beat. Oh, but Jody has capitalized on what has been presented in front of her consistently, irregardless of which pro that she gets drawn with. And how you correlate that to an exceptional fisherman is that she can probably go anywhere and fish with anybody and still catch them. And like I tell every one of her partners, if there's fish around, she can catch them. You put her around the fish, she will catch them, and she does, obviously. It's on paper. So I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's because I have the touch of coach.
This stuff ain't easy.
Like I told
It ain't easy.
the third day guy, I'm like, man, Cory's got a lot of patience for a lot of people, and he teaches a lot of people, but I've wore his patience thin.
Well,
I don't blame him though. You know, it's one of those things like you take advantage of stuff that's like right there, right? So if it I don't know how to say that, like I just know, like, I can always ask you, like, yeah, what about this, what about that?
mm-hmm.
And when I'm out with these other people, like my day 2 guy, when we were scratching just to get some fish in the boat, like I had to really dig deep and be like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I had to fish very aggressively, and it was not handed to me because the areas that we were at, the fish weren't where we thought they would be,
Mm-hmm.
and there's lots of different things we had to try. So that's
So your instincts are starting to kick in, even after only a year and a half of competitive fishing.
Yeah, and when I watch you,
that's
just
rare.
when I watch you just, you know, hammering, trying to figure out what they're going to bite on, I mean, that's what helped me, because yeah, I could have just thrown a worm and been like, wow, that day sucked, but I couldn't do that. I had to push myself to do things that I'd never done
give
before.
up. Never give up.
Yeah.
So, well, fantastic. So shout out to Sawgrass Rods, EIS Energy Inspection, Juan Bass.
Yes, and everybody on the One Bass side that works this whole thing.
Phenomenal
are
job,
awesome.
because there is so much more to one of these pro tournaments than is, to a Saturday tournament or something, and that's not pissing on any of their parade, dude, because that takes a lot of effort also. But these right here, you just pull up there and everything's already spread out. Like all the ground crew, the secretaries, Billy on the microphone, keeping things going, and you do that day after day after day, and hell, that's worth half the entry fee, I think. In all seriousness.
And
it's a good value.
You just feel like you are somebody, though, because there's 142 in this last one.
There was 140 something in this last one, yeah.
But it's something to be said where, like, hi, how are you? And they mean it. Like it's.
Yeah, right.
I remember when on the third day, when we brought the bag up to get weighed, and of course my fish was the co-big to be weighed, and I remember Teresa was like right over my right shoulder in the background,
just out of scene.
Yeah, you can't see her because of the screen, and they weighed that fish, and Teresa's like, that's the biggest fish, and I kind of looked back, and she was up out of her seat, and she was like, that's the biggest fish, and it made me feel so good, because I'm like, yeah, there was only 8 more people to be weighed in, because we were in the last flight, because we were in the top 10, but she got excited, she was so happy, and I was like, this is awesome. So it's a cool thing.
Yeah. So Jody is a female in a man's, predominantly a man's sport. I tell her all the time, that bass doesn't know whether it's a female that has a hold of that rod or a male, and it doesn't care either. It's of the ladies in this trail, she's leading in the points. There's a couple more that's not too far behind. They're good fishermen. They're veteran fishermen. They've been at it for a long time.
They're real good.
And everybody is just so friendly and cordial with Juan Bass. And so what I'm probably starting to get at is that if you wanted to try something that was a 3-day tournament, and maybe you wanted to start on the amateur side, and you've got 3 or 4 or 5 rods and a bag of tackle and stuff, you could fly. If you're East Coast, you could fly out there, and if you're not, you could just make that drive. You put your money in the hat, they will pair you up with, you'll have a different pro each day. You will carry the weight, whatever you and your first day pro catch. If you catch 15 pounds, well, now you have 15 pounds. He also has 15 pounds. If you catch 15 pounds the next day, now you have 30 pounds, and you take that to the last day, the third day. And now if you catch 15 pounds again, now you have 45 pounds, and you're only scored against the other AAA non-boaters that paid the same amount of entry fee for you. And you get to fish for 3 days with guys that normally can show you around a little bit and help you out.
Yeah.
And it's so much of a team environment every day. It's a team environment. Man, you can only get it. So is it $400 for the entry fee on the amateur side?
Yeah, a little.
That's the best $400 you could ever spend in your entire. You'll never get a guide trip. Well, you might get a guide trip for $600, $1,200, a good one. But for $400, that is the best thing that you will ever spend if you love bass fishing and you want to think about getting in a little competition or something.
And I want to encourage too, if there's any women out there that are apprehensive or don't know, reach out to me. Like,
Yeah,
man,
100%.
like, you don't know what you don't know, and you just gotta live. You can't just exist in life. I spend a lot of my time in my life just existing, and now I'm living, and it's a huge difference to really push yourself and to do things out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. What an amazing deal. Well, yeah, and she's not joking around. Get a hold of her one way or the other. And little questions that you'll have, she'll be able to answer it for you. And probably meet you at the airport or meet you at the ramp or meet you somewhere. And if it's your first time, you can just go out with us the last day or two, or fish the entire practice with us, and and we'll help. It's not I would get everything out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just anything to help somebody else get a hold of this. You'll love it. It'll be life changing, probably, maybe.
It has been.
Huh?
It has been.
Yeah. There's a lot to it too. This ain't easy, but it's the right stuff.
All right.
Probably wraps it up.
Well,
You good?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Peace out from West Texas.
Peace out.